Not very long ago, there was a conservative movement united around a handful of positions: low taxes, light regulation, spending restraint, a strong and assertive defense and foreign policy, upholding of traditional values, and opposition to abortion. There was more to it than that, but you get the idea. Today, with the nomination of Donald Trump, those ideas no longer hold the movement together. The question arises, win or lose, what happens to conservatism in America? Let's ask one of its most noted chroniclers, the columnist George Will. Hi, George.
Glad to be with you.
Your thoughts about whether this movement will come back together? Will conservatives to forgive each other after this and rally together again?
A general amnesty like Appomattox?
Exactly.
Well, we'll see. Conservatives have to deal with two things, and they're related: tone and substance. The tone of conservatism has become angry. We have not elected a really angry man president since Andrew Jackson. I'm not sure the American people who are bewildered, sad, confused, annoyed, but I'm not sure we are an angry nation, and conservatism right now presents an angry face.
It was certainly true, though, in the primaries there were candidates who struck a posture that was not angry. John Kasich did, Jeb Bush did, there were others. Didn't work.
That's right, but the primary process rewards intense minorities, not the majority of the country, and that's another thing the Republicans and the conservatives have to deal with, is the process by which they select their candidates. Then there's the substance. You mentioned it, reciting there the catechism. Limited government, low spending. No one in this campaign has talked about entitlements other than Donald Trump to say that Social Security must not be touched and Medicare must not be touched. Well, since entitlements are 67% of the federal budget, he's saying they shouldn't be touched. Low taxes. Mr. Trump is for protectionism, that is tariffs. Tariffs are taxes levied at the border. And when you endorse protectionism, you're endorsing a whole apparatus of government, industrial policy, the government selling Americans what they can buy, in what quantities, and at what prices. That's hardly conservatism.
Well, what about the will that exists between the Trump and non-Trump camps? Now, that issue, immigration, is another issue that's been a dividing point. Immigration, and that relates to trade, are the two areas where Trump diverges from the old Republican orthodoxy. But in most of the people who support Trump, they want a strong defense. They'd like to see taxes lowered, traditional values, anti-abortion. They're together on all those things, and yet in terms of how they feel about each other right now, they are miles apart. Can that divide be healed?
Well, the test is going to be, and it may be a test they all flunk, is immigration. The Republican Party is facing right now what Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina calls a demographic death spiral. That is, the Republican strategy, and it's really quite explicitly Donald Trump's strategy this time around, is to get an ever larger portion of a declining portion of the electorate, white voters. They're just reaching the limits of that. Look at, Texas, Arizona, Georgia, states that are now turning slowly, and in some cases quickly, purple. If the Republicans don't have a way of attracting minorities, they cannot win in modern America, period.
So, in other words, even if you posit that the white vote reaches a kind of a maximum level for the Republican Party, which would mean an awful lot of white liberals would have to suddenly decide to vote Republican, you're going to be overwhelmed by the growing minority.
Every 4 years, the white portion of the electorate shrinks about 2.6 points.
Right.
In 1988, the last time the Republicans won an emphatic victory, the last time they won more than 300 electoral votes, George Herbert Walker Bush against Michael Dukakis. George Herbert Walker Bush got 59% of the white vote, which is high, and that translated into 426 electoral votes. In 2012, Mitt Romney also got 59% of the white vote. That translated into 206 electoral votes.
Now, the thing, George, it strikes me that what the party will need in the aftermath of this, and Mr. Trump will be the leader of it if he wins, and that will run its course. If the party loses, as seems to be likely, although it's certainly not certain, is a leader. Do you see a leader on the horizon?
The highest ranking Republican in this country is Paul Ryan. And he has an insurgency that is, if not quite bane for his hide at this point, certainly unsatisfied with him. So the answer is, you're right, you can't beat something with nothing, and there's nothing out there right now.
George, thank you. Nice to see you.
Glad to be with you.